It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was that was on my watch. Yeah, and I said, does anybody really know what time it is?
Welcome in on this Thursday. We've got some good news. The Athletic is reporting Damar Hamlin has made remarkable improvement today. Now ESPN is doing the same thing. While still critically ill, he has demonstrated that he appears to be neurologically intact. His lungs continue to heal. He is making steady progress. This actually is coming now from the Buffalo Bills. So it was reported by ESPN and by The Athletic, and that is about as good a news as we could get today. So that is outstanding. It's always great to start a show with positivity. We absolutely do today. We start with the Grizz last night. Well, they were pretty remarkable as well. Total domination of a very bad Charlotte Hornets team. The Grizzlies scored 40 in the first quarter. They had 76 at the half. Charlotte just didn't seem to care. They did the craziest things. There was one point in the second half, I want to say late in the third, where Ja gets the inbound pass, lets it roll to a spot in the backcourt, and just stops. And the ball stopped. And he's standing behind the ball, waiting for a Charlotte Hornet to come and pick him up. Now, he can do that. The 8-second count does not start until he picks up the ball. The shot clock does not start until he picks up the ball. The game clock, however, continues to go. And 10, maybe 15 seconds elapse before finally Rozier comes out and decides to guard him, and finally he picks up the ball. But they lost a good 15 seconds. When you're behind by 25 or 30 points, every second counts. You're letting all that slip away. This is just a bad team, Charlotte. It's just a very bad team. It was good to see Desmond Bane back. He had a double-double, 19 and 11. I don't know, J-Mo, I thought I heard Pete say that is the first time, or maybe it was Fish, that's the first time Bane had a double-double with points and rebounds.
I could believe it. I'll check on it, though.
Yeah, double-check that, because I think that's the case. Adams had 15 rebounds. He had 9 in the first half. They just didn't give him minutes to get 20 rebounds again. He was 1 point shy of a double-double. Ja, 23 points, 8 assists. Triple J, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. Good stuff. I'll tell you the other aspect that I really like is that David Roddy continues to get better. He's starting to look like he's really going to be an NBA player. And I'm going to be just honest with you. When I saw David Roddy in college, because he played the Tigers, they shut him down. He did not look to me like he could ever be an NBA player. He looked like a guy who was a football player, a linebacker, playing basketball, using his body. When he starts to consistently shoot threes, and I think he did that at Colorado State, if he gets that percentage anywhere near decent, say 37, 38%, wow, he's going to be good. Clearly, he is better than Jake LaRavia, who actually was taken before he was. So this is good stuff for the Grizz. LaMelo Ball, I guess, was the only bright spot for them. 23 points, 12 assists. Here's the thing about LaMelo. My gosh, is he a volume shooter, huh? No conscience, doesn't think about strategically taking shots in my mind. But 23, he does get 23. But I don't know that he really helped. He did have 12 assists, so he tried to get some people involved. But to me, he takes way too many shots. We talk about Dylan Brooks. Forget about it. Of course, Brooks is known more as a guy who's a defender who can score. This guy's just known as an offensive guy. He's supposed to be your star. 64, 52 paint points. Well, that's always with the Grizzlies. 59-44 rebound advantage. That would make a lot of sense. They also went to the line 37 times because Charlotte does a lot of stupid things, in my opinion. And so they ended up scoring 8 more than Charlotte did from the line. But this was total domination, and what it means now is, for the moment, they are tied with the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference for the lead. So they are back in front in that department, which is, I guess, what we should start to expect, because everybody thinks they can win the title this year. I do not. I think the Nuggets, I worry about the Mavericks, those two teams. And the Pelicans have had the Grizzlies number on several occasions, but Memphis has won the last two in that department. In the meantime, so they are now 24-13. That is exactly what the Nuggets are. The Pelicans are a half game behind. Then the Mavericks, who are starting to play pretty well and have won 7 games in a row, they are now sitting at 22-16, so they're 2.5 behind the Nuggets and the Grizzlies. Grizzlies play again tonight. That will be in Orlando. Orlando under 500 at home, 10 games under 500 overall. Grizzlies should win this game, but I will warn you. Tiger Grizzlies are 7.5-point favorites in this game, but I will warn you. Memphis is not that good on the road, and how many guys will they play on the second night of a back-to-back? The good news is Orlando's playing second night of a back-to-back as well.
However, Jalen Suggs did not play last night, and he is expected to play tonight because he was just out with soreness yesterday. So that's a player, at least for them, that a volume shooter as well that scores a lot. Also, Desmond Bane, that was his first double-double with rebounds, so that was the first time for him last night.
You were nodding when I said Charlotte is just a bad basketball team.
Yeah,
and as much as I love Michael Jordan, and I think he's the greatest player who ever played, and I think he had the best will to win of any player that I have ever seen, as I elevate him on that pedestal as a player, I think he needs to be singled out as a terrible administrator, a terrible owner.
Maybe so. You said they're a bad team. I agree. There's two, in my mind at least, two bad teams in the NBA that aren't even competitive. Hornets are one of them for me, and the Rockets are the other one. The Rockets play well offensively. They play no defense. The Hornets, like you said about LaMelo Ball, this might be critical, and it might bite me in the butt one day saying this about him. I don't think he's a conducive player to winning whatsoever. Even his assists are not winning. They're just not winning plays. It's an anomaly. You never see point guards that pass the ball as well as he does with the proficiency that he does not be conducive to playing winning basketball, but I think he might fall in that category.
Well, I just think his sense of timing on when to take a lot of the shots he takes is awful. I'm with you. He possesses a great amount of skill, but I don't think intuitively as a player, I think you put it great. He's not a winner. He doesn't make winning plays. He's about him. If he changes, and, I was looking up all the brothers last night. So you've got Lorenzo, who's at Chicago, who's been injured a lot. And, he's clearly the second best player. LaMelo's the best. He's the youngest, right?
He is the youngest.
Yeah. And then the middle guy has had a cup of coffee in the NBA. He's just not quite good enough to be in the NBA. He's the one that is playing in the G League, but wasn't he the first guy that was going to go to UCLA and then decided he was going to go to Australia or something?
Well, he got in trouble he
got shoplifting.
In China. And they were going to get him in a lot of trouble. Yeah, Lonzo I love. Lonzo is absolutely conducive to winning, passes the ball well.
Yeah.
He's been hurt for the Bulls, and that's hurt them a lot.
And he's the oldest guy.
He is the oldest, and I think he's
But
plays the most mature as well.
But Melo is the guy that is really considered the best of the three.
Most skilled, absolutely. Can do the most on his own. And it's also fair to say the Hornets were better last year. They're not healthy. They still need Gordon Hayward back. This is the second game Cody Martin has played all year, and he's a really productive bench player for him.
Has Gordon Hayward ever played well since he got injured with the Celtics? I mean, he was a great player in college.
Absolutely.
At Butler, they should have won the national title that year. That would have been one heck of a story. His three at the buzzer rimmed out, and so they didn't win the national title. But he was a great college player. He was a really good pro with the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. But once he had that injury, then he got his big contract. He has not been the same guy.
Not at all. His best years were probably in Utah, and like you said, he had he's had a pretty productive year, though. At the beginning of the year, he was scoring 20 points kind of with ease. He had a big gap where he was hurt through like November into December, and he's been playing the last 2 or 3 weeks and didn't play yesterday. I guess he's listed here as left hamstring soreness, so another guy that probably was just a precautionary sit-out, but still hurts him when he's not playing.
I'm going to have to do our new analytics, which are really old school, where we do the road wins minus home losses to see how these rank. But here comes Dallas. And the Denver Nuggets are for real. And they've got the guy who's the best player in the league for 2 years in a row. We can say what we want to about Giannis. It's a good matchup with him and Joker. But
and Embiid. Don't forget Embiid in there.
I know. So you think about this. The top 4 players in the NBA, I think I mentioned this the other day, are not Americans. They are foreign players. The top 4 players, I guess you'd have to say Joker 1, Luka 2, Giannis 3, Embiid 4, and then I'm throwing Ja in at 5. Ja's an American. He's the only American. Pride of South Carolina.
You've got
Murray, Kentucky.
You've got a lot up there, too. Another player that didn't play great against the Grizzlies because he was guarded really well, Pascal Siakam, another international player up there that could be in the top 6, 7 players in the league.
Well, you got
to
throw Steph Curry's in there somewhere.
And Kevin Durant's playing unbelievable. Jason Tatum's playing unbelievable.
So those, you're right. Those are your top 9 guys.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I mean, there's a lot of stars in this league. I don't know if anybody does it with more flash, honestly, than Ja. That's the beauty of having Ja.
Well, and then think about this, how much we talk about, all the three-pointers now. The game has changed so much with the three-pointers. The guys you just named, other than Luka, Jokic is a 5. Giannis plays the 5.
Right.
Embiid plays the 5. The sitters in the league.
Wait. Because the game has changed. It's hard to, when we think of a 5, we think of a post guy. You're going to get him the ball down low. He's going to make his moves down low. You're thinking Shaq. You might think Kareem. The 5 position in the NBA today is totally different. Giannis doesn't shoot with proficiency, but he'll step out. He'll shoot the 3, or he'll bring his defender out so the lane is open. Same thing with Joker. Joker is almost a .5.
He is.
I mean, he is such a good passer that he'll step out above top of the key, go to an elbow where the offense is going through him. So the 5 position is not as we knew it.
By the same token, though, because it's not the same, I agree with everything you said. Because of that, though, those guys' physicality, specifically Embiid and Giannis's physicality, their ability to be big and strong inside, it makes that position so much, I think, more valuable than any other position in the game right now, maybe more valuable than it's ever been, too. You see it with Steven Adams on any given night when he can go out there and get 21 rebounds because the other team just doesn't have a guy as big and physical as he is. That's a super valuable position in pro basketball.
In my mind, Steven Adams is just the greatest. He's not a step-out guy.
No, he's not.
But what he does, first of all, he can run the floor. I've seen him lately. If he can't get the ball to Ja, he will actually dribble the ball up the court. Now, that, in my day, never occurred. A center, a 5, never dribbled the ball. He got the ball. He might have taken 2 dribbles to make sure he found an open guy, and he got rid of it, and he ran as quickly as he could down to the other side. In this day and age, bigs will handle the ball.
And he'll pass it, too, like he did last year.
He's a great passer. And here's the beauty, in my mind, about Steven Adams. The only numbers that he really cares about, I think, are rebounds. He does not care about scoring. And proof last night. He had 9 points forever and never got the 10th point. Didn't want to go back in. Didn't demand the ball. He doesn't care. He just wants to win, rebound the ball, defend, and win. And he does one heck of a job at that. And I don't. You think he's quick enough now to play in a matchup with Minnesota? You think he's changed his style that he can play against the Timberwolves? Because remember, they had to stop playing him in that series last year.
They did. I still contend a little bit that was the Grizzlies playing defense against themselves a little bit. It's undoubtedly he was having a tough time matching up with those guys. But I also think, like what we were just saying, with the rebounds and physicality aspects, I think he makes it tough to match up with them as well. And you can see the Grizzlies' offense has changed in a big way, too, where they aren't having him at the elbow passing nearly as much as they did last year. They are using his physicality to their advantage much more this year. So maybe so, and it might just be because they won't be able to match up with him on either end either.
All right. The top 10 teams at this moment in the Western Conference that would make the playoffs if they started today. The Denver Nuggets and the Grizzlies are 1-2. Pelicans 3, Mavs 4. Kings, Clippers tied for 5th and 6th. Trailblazers, Suns, Warriors through 9, and then the Jazz 10. And the Jazz are finally reality has hit, I think, on them. Mavericks have won 7 games in a row. If you're ranking these teams right now, how would you rank them? And then I'll give you mine. Just do the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's tough, too, because I want to throw the Clippers in there as well because it's
you can.
Kawhi's not playing every night. The Nuggets are probably one for me, and I'm a big believer in the Mavericks, even though I don't think they can guard the 5 very well. I do think the Mavericks might be 2 for me. And I'm going to put the Clippers 3, to be honest, and the Grizzlies 4, and then from there I'll go the Pelicans, Kings for the top 6, just as it ranks right now.
I think Nuggets 1 for sure. I think I'll put the Mavericks 2.
I agree. I think so.
I think I'll
7 in a row.
I'll put the Grizzlies 3, and really the most important one is to be in the top 4.
That's right.
And then the Pelicans. And normally I would have put the Pelicans over the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies seem to have figured out the Pelicans. They've won the last couple, and now Zion is out for 3 weeks.
To go along with Brandon Ingram, they were already really hurt, and now they're really hurt.
And here's the thing. I truly wonder now. Now this is not like Parsons, Chandler
Parsons.
Yeah, I don't think that Zion is like that, where he got this injury that he'd never recover from. But I'm not sure, because he is so big and so muscular that and the weight that he carries, even though he's lost some, I'm not sure physically he can ever play a full NBA season. So you may have to really taper this guy down and just play him a lot in the playoffs and really be sparing in the regular season. I mean, really regulate how much he plays, and maybe he's got to lose more weight, which may cost him some effectiveness inside. But it sure seems, based on his first, 3 years now, that he's not capable of playing a full season without a lot of injuries.
And the evidence is there. This one is a little bit different, though. In my mind, I'm not a doctor. Hamstring strain, though, that's like what, like a pulled hamstring sort of situation. Yeah. So that one's a little bit
But that
different.
happens with muscular guys that carry a lot of weight.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not as concerning to me as like his knee and ankle injuries, though.
No, but hamstrings are debilitating. And they take a long time to heal. That's the problem.
And I've heard if it happens once like that, it has more likely to happen more often too.
And I think, he's this is his body. It's his positive, but it is also a negative because he is so muscular and so explosive that those kinds of injuries, I think, are going to just be an issue all year long. Anyway, I think they're going to fall. So I would actually put them fifth, and I'd move up the Clippers. Because the Clippers are going to play Kawhi a lot more as the season goes on, and in particular in the playoffs. They've lost 3 in a row. It's the Mavericks that are on fire. They've won 7 in a row now, and I don't know if anybody, including the Joker or Giannis, is playing better than Luka right now.
Those guys are going to have trouble defending a good team with a 5, though. And like the team that we both made number 1, the Nuggets, I have a bold take for you, and I know you didn't ask for it, but a team that's kind of teetering on that play-in spot right now and not in it, that the Grizzlies played the other night on the road and lost to without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are a playoff team.
How bad is SGA?
He's playing again. He played last night, and he had 30-some-odd points. And he's an unbelievable player. But then they won 2 nights ago. They played a back-to-back. They won without him 2 nights ago against the Boston Celtics at home. They're a really good home team. They struggle. They've only won like 5 games on the road, so they're not great on the road. But they're that play. They remind me a lot of that first year the Grizzlies made the play-in where they lost to the Blazers, a team that's on their way up. I think they could be a play-in team and kind of be on the rise as these seasons go on.
That was COVID, right? That was when the Grizzlies started to come in. They lost to Portland in the bubble.
Is that right?
I'm pretty sure that
20.
Is the
that
case.
has to be. That's right.
Yeah. Real quick, college basketball crazy things. UConn goes down last night at Providence. You know Providence is now undefeated in the Big East. Yeah, that's a team you better take a look at, folks.
And that's 2 straight losses for UConn,
isn't
it?
Yeah, I feel so bad for Danny Hurley. He actually was cool last night. He did not blow his mind like he normally does. Georgia, this kills the Tigers. Georgia upsets number 22 Auburn. Georgia just wins a couple of games here and there every year. They're not very good, but they're a killer. Josh Pastner and Georgia Tech upset your Miami Hurricane.
Top 15 team right now, isn't that right? And Miami's like 11 or 12?
12. 12.
So big win at home for
Pastner needed that one.
It's hard to win in the league on the road, and I don't know if it's because, like we always say, there's so much parity in college basketball. Is it because all these teams are so good, or because none of them are good enough? And I think you're going to see that with these tough road losses.
You know, in the usual rivalry, North Carolina, preseason number 1, not in the top 25, terrible, against a number 6, and then you take their big rival, number 16, Duke. You see what happened to them last night?
No.
You did not?
I did not.
Well, you're Iowa. I'm sorry. Your folks are from Iowa.
That's right.
Kansas State last night started the game against Duke 20-2 and beat them 84-60. 84-60. Now, that was in Manhattan, Kansas.
Wait, Kansas State, they're playing a non-conference game in January?
They're playing Duke.
NC State.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am sorry. You're right. NC State.
That would have been a huge win, though. Either way, NC State, though, they're a top 50 team as well. That's still a really tough 20-point win against Duke.
24. At home.
At home.
Started off 20-2. And then Georgetown lost again last night. Now, man, I feel bad for the big man. He has lost 25 straight games. How long can Patrick Ewing I can't imagine they would fire him in the middle of the season. But 25 straight league games? Wow.
And it doesn't get much better. They go on the road to Marquette, Seton Hall. They play. I mean, these are tough league. This is a tough league to play in, too.
Really, well, you got UConn Providence we just talked about.
Yeah. That's tough. St. John's is not great, but they're a top 75 team, too. And Georgetown is not. They're bottom 200. They're like 215 by Ken Pomeroy.
Yeah. It's crazy. So here's my question for you. Hard one. Who gets fired first? Patrick Ewing or Kenny Payne at Louisville?
Patrick Ewing. It's Kenny Payne's first year. And I know it's bad. I know it's terrible, but so much surrounds that.
What if he goes over for the ACC? I don't think he will. I think they've actually gotten a little bit better than they were. They took somebody close, a good team last night, close. I tend to think you're right. I don't see how Patrick Ewing can keep his job. I feel bad for the big guy, really do, but Man, 25 straight league losses. That's terrible. And then, I don't know if you watched any of it. Arkansas in a thriller last night beat Missouri 74-68. They had to come from behind at home to do it. It was a good game.
A buddy texted me and said it was an excellent basketball game, and Missouri looked competitive too. People like that coach at Missouri.
Missouri will beat Arkansas at home. I mean, that league is they're going to beat each other up. I'm just shocked. Look what happened to Auburn. How does that happen?
I think it's going to be tough to win these league games. I'm not sure any of these teams can stand out.
Well, look, Tennessee almost lost in Oxford, Ole Miss.
To Ole Miss.
So you're going to see a lot of that, I think, as the year goes on. We got to take a break. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. You know about the half price after Christmas sale. Slate pools, pool tables, state of the art. How about they start at $2,000? This is like half price. This is incredible. Arcade games starting at only $1,200. My favorite, air hockey, foosball too, starts at $500, and they're great. I mean, state-of-the-art games. You will get spas at the lowest price of the year if you go right now to I-40 and Whidden Road and see my friends at Family Leisure. My good friend Russell Copeland on the National Football League. Big weekend coming up. We'll talk about the Damar Hamlin incident and his perspective as a former player and what the league will do from here on out as you listen to Wolo and Friends.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sportstime on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing is now currently hiring all positions. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, please apply today. Choate's is offering huge sign-on bonuses to seasoned technicians, plumbers, installers, and air duct cleaners. At Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing, we offer a career, not just a job, by putting you in a paid training program to develop your technical and customer service skills to best serve our customers. Choate's offers top pay in the Mid-South, weekly pay, paid vacation and holidays, company matching retirement account, health, dental, vision, and life insurance, and Christmas, Thanksgiving, and birthday bonuses. If this sounds like an exciting opportunity for you, then we should talk. So call us at 347-8086 or apply online at choateshvac.com under the careers link. Come, join our family.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back. If your first bet doesn't win, just sign up with the promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code WIN for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Must be present in state where lawful to wager. 21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342. Arizona 1-800-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Indiana, Kansas 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. Louisiana 1-877-770-STOP. New York 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789. Wyoming, West Virginia 1-800-522-4700 or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Our title sponsor for this hour of the program, you know it's Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai. They're still with us in this new year of 2023, and they are celebrating the new year with a new financial opportunity for you. They always like to incentivize, and they've done it with what they call a 90-day deferral program. You don't make your first payment on a brand new Hyundai. If you go to Homer Skelton Hyundai, right at the corner of Highway 78 and Craft Road, first exit in Mississippi, turn left and go see our good friend Chris True. But if you pick up any car off the lot, any new Hyundai, you pick it. You don't pay for 3 months. 90-day deferral, that's what's happening at Homer Skelton Hyundai. We're going to talk to Russell Copeland here in just a minute. I just found this news out a couple of days ago. I've been meaning to pass it along. Very sad. Bob Cockerham, who was a huge college football fan and supported it in a lot of different ways, supported a lot of charity groups, really. Bob was big-time member of the Touchdown Club, kind of a loner of a guy, very interesting, but he loved his Georgia Tech rambling wreck. He graduated class of 67 from Messick High School. To his family and his friends in the community, we pass along our thoughts and our prayers. Big loss. Bob Cockerham passing away at the age of 72. There's going to be a celebration of his life. It'll be held this Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Central Barbecue on Summer Avenue. For those that are interested, I'm guessing Touchdown Club has put this together. But he will. They'll reminisce. Wish I could be there. Tigers are playing at that time, but they will reminisce about Bob at 2 o'clock Saturday at Central Barbecue on Summer. In the meantime, we got lots to talk about today with our friend Russell Copeland, former Tiger, former Buffalo Bill, amongst others that he played for in the NFL. And again, I want to reiterate the news that we learned today that Damar Hamlin is recovering very, very nicely in the hospital in Cincinnati. This came from a statement of the Buffalo Bills. His lungs have cleared up. His vital signs are stronger. So it's, I don't think they're totally out of the woods yet, but it is very positive what is happening with him. And I know, Russell, that makes you feel a lot better. What were your thoughts Monday night when you saw what happened to the Buffalo Bills safety?
Well, Dave, that's really fantastic news. And, I've been speaking with members of the organization, speaking with Jeremy Kelly, who's over player relations. So, I was drafted by the Buffalo Bills. I'm still real close to a lot of people that's in that organization. And, for me, it's just really been an emotional week, Dave, to be honest about it. And for the most part, I spoke with John Harding yesterday. I was on air with him yesterday, and, we talked a lot about it. It's been all over the country. But for me personally, I believe in unity, peace, and harmony for all humanity. And regardless of political affiliation, race, gender, economic status, or sexual orientation, it's really good to see everyone put all of those things aside and come together for humanity. And we see it a lot of times when you have natural disasters, and we're seeing it right now. So it's really fantastic news. But it's really been emotional for me because I do belong to a very elite fraternity as a former player in the National Football League, and we're a very tight family. So good news, positive, things going in the right direction. It means a lot.
What do you think is the sense, since you played for this team and you've been talking to their guy in player relations? What is their sense about playing this weekend?
Well, things have had to progress because, of course, when everything happened, you're not thinking about playing a game. You can't play a game. So emotions are still there. But to see him progressing in the right direction, I think for the players, now they can galvanize and play for him and around him. If you'd have asked me the same thing yesterday or 2 days ago, I probably would have had a different answer. Probably would have said, I don't know if they're going to be mentally prepared, mentally ready. But I think as he gets better, I think it suits better for the football team because, Dave, let's be honest. Unfortunately, life goes on. And as you look at the scheduling, as you look at things with the scheduling, games are still scheduled to play. And those players have to be mentally prepared. They have to be resilient. They have to be tough. But to answer your question, I think since he's doing better and he's progressing in the right direction, it becomes easier for them to go out and play.
And they obviously did the right thing about canceling that game. I have no idea how they could make that game up. I don't think they will make that game up. And let's just say that's just the luck of the draw. I mean, if you're the NFL, what else can you do? You can't play that game again. So what it will do is it will affect the AFC's seeding because it may be handing the Kansas City Chiefs the number one seed.
And Dave, I think that's why. I've talked to different sources. They're trying to put it on the table to play this game after next week because you just mentioned it. You're talking about the seeding because it affects Kansas City. If Buffalo loses, now Cincinnati wins. They're at number 2. Buffalo could slip from where they are now all the way to 4 or 5. So it does affect a lot of teams. What do you do? Do you how is it going to be handled? Does it happen and say, hey, this was a tragic event, and unfortunately, this is the way it is, and Kansas City is going to be here, and the seasons are pretty much going to stay, not being affected from that game, but more about being affected from this week?
I think that's what you have to do. I mean, it's like if there were a natural disaster, if there had been an earthquake and that game got canceled because of the lateness in the season, you just accept it. And you say, sorry, but there's nothing that we can do. It's out of our control, and we're just going to go with the way that it happened. You can't change everything for one single game. You just can't. So Kansas City, it's amazing. Do you realize in all the years and all the success that Patrick Mahomes has had, he has never played a playoff game on the road?
Never played one on the road. And something else, Dave, I think is reminiscent kind of when you go back to COVID. When COVID was coming, games, had to be missed. We saw it in basketball. I know this is something bigger, but we saw it with the Tigers playing against Tennessee. That's a game that you wanted to play. You wanted to get back and play at that point in time, but you had to skip over. And I'm saying it from Memphis because we're right here, but it happened all over the country with games, and it affected playoffs. It affected playoffs. It affected championships. It affected conferences. So I think this is kind of similar along that line.
There are some games that do have a lot of effect this week about teams just even getting in the playoffs. Let's take Tennessee and Jacksonville. Winner of that is in. Loser is done for the year. I think Ryan Tannehill may be more appreciated in Tennessee next year than he's ever been before because they haven't found the answer. Maybe it'll be Joshua Dobbs. I like Jacksonville in this game. How do you see it?
I totally agree with you. As far as Tennessee, I like the way Dobbs was playing. I've always thought that he's really been a good quarterback. Seemed like he hasn't really had the opportunity to play. When you have a veteran quarterback as Tannehill, we know his flaws here and there, but it's really tough when you get to the playoffs, you get towards the end, and you do not have that veteran signal caller that can go with the Tennessee Titans when you look at Derrick Henry. You do need that veteran signal caller. But I like the way Jacksonville is playing. Doug Peterson has done a tremendous job. You look at Trevor Lawrence, he looks every bit of the par of the player that played in Clemson and was the number 1 overall pick last year. I like what they're doing defensively. They're making a lot of plays. Trevor Lawrence has full control of Doug Peterson's offense. I'm going to go with Jacksonville, but I tell you what, the Tennessee Titans, if Derrick Henry is healthy, this is a division game. I think it'll really be a tough game and come down to the wire. This has been actually a division that goes up and down every year. And I actually thought the Colts would do a lot better than they have. This division usually goes to the wire, but I'm going to pick the Jaguars.
I'm with you, and you can hear that game, by the way, Saturday night, 7 o'clock, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, there's 2 games that have complications with each other. Green Bay and Detroit, which, by the way, you can hear here at 6:30 on Sunday, and the Seattle Seahawks and the Rams. Seattle beats the Rams. They're in. Detroit's out no matter what happens. How do you see those two? Because they are critical.
Starting with the Lions and the Packers, I tell you what, the Lions have been one of the teams that's been a really surprising team. Jared Goff is playing outstanding. But the Green Bay Packers, I think when you have a player of the magnitude of Aaron Rodgers, you always look and say, when is he going to get things turned around? They have definitely done that. His wide receivers are on the same page. Defense is playing outstanding. They can run the football with the best of them. Give me the Packers. It's really hard to count out Aaron Rodgers. But right now, I tell you, playing in Green Bay, Detroit has to get out of that dome and go play in Green Bay. It's going to be tough for them. I like the Packers. They have the momentum. And I tell you what, the Packers get into the playoffs, the way they've been playing, hey, they can really upset some teams and just really see what they're going to be seeded. But that's going to be really interesting to see if they can get into the playoffs.
Well, I'm with you. I don't think any team right now would want to face the Green Bay Packers. At the moment, if they got in, I guess they get into the 7 slot. So they'd play the Niners, right?
They would play the Niners. That's the way it said it. And speaking of that, we are going to talk about the Rams and Seahawks, but now you still have to look at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles could drop from 1 to 5. This is an important game for them as well because they still have not solidified their division.
Right.
Believe it or not, as well as they played, the Cowboys are right behind them. So this week is going to be really important. And going back to the Seattle Seahawks, I think they get in. They may be able to get in right there at maybe 6, I believe, or Green Bay may be 6 or they may be 7. Just have to a lot of tiebreakers, a lot of different things you have to look at. But if Seattle wins, I believe that they're in. But a huge game for Philadelphia. And just look at how well they've been playing the entire year. They've dropped 2 straight. How healthy it hurts. And I think there's another argument. I think he's the MVP. It shows Philadelphia does not nearly look like the same team offensively or defensively since Hurts is not playing. Must win for them as well.
Yeah. Last 2 games I want to talk about, Buffalo, New England, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, because those are the 2 teams most affected. Mm-hmm. They were there in Cincinnati when Damar Hamlin got hurt. How do you put that aside?
Well, I think for Cincinnati, I think for everyone, Hamlin has been on all of our hearts. I think it will be easier for Cincinnati to go play, and it'll be more questions, more emotions for Buffalo to go out and play. I think Buffalo will galvanize. They're playing against the Patriots. The Patriots has dominated this division for a very long time, but the last few years has been the Buffalo Bills. I think they'll play well. I think they'll be inspired of what happened to their teammate. I think they win that game. And Cincinnati game comes back if Lamar Jackson is not playing the way the Cincinnati Bengals are playing. They're one of the hottest teams in the AFC. I think the Bengals win.
I agree with you on all those counts. I don't think that's ever happened all year, but we do here at the end. Last thing, Tiger staff changes. Gone. David Glidden, the receivers coach. Jim Bridge, the line coach. Charles Benkins, the special teams coach. I don't think we're really surprised at all about the O-line and the special teams. Maybe a little bit receivers. They got the guy they wanted from UAB. Maybe that's why they made that move. Your thoughts about the Tiger staff changes?
Well, we talked pretty much, a couple of weeks ago about the recruits, how excited we were about the team, how it's going to look next year with the scheduling and things of that nature. I think you have to put a point of emphasis to be able to make your team stronger. And I think a point of emphasis, the offensive line, didn't play as well as they should have expected. So you have to go to their coach. Special teams, there are a lot of different issues with special teams. I think special teams, you can look and say maybe 2 games because the special teams kind of lost those games for you. We look at the wide receiver core. I think they came on, but you're always trying to upgrade it. And I think Coach Silverfield did the right job. putting other people here to be able to make those position groups better than they were this past year.
Russell, Happy New Year to you and your family. Thank you again. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, Dave.
That is our man, former Tiger, former Buffalo Bill, Russell Copley. He's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. If you are in the market for a brand new home, your dream home maybe, or a renovation to get all the modern amenities into your older home, here is your guy. Really interesting to talk to, one of those rare individuals. This is what a builder should be. Sees little details, big picture, all at once. Go to kengarland.com and see what he and what his dad before him did. This company's been around for about 65 years now. They've built beautiful palaces all throughout the Memphis area. And Ken understands the decision and commitment you're making, which is why he works closely with all his clients and gives them what they should expect: quality construction, on time, on budget. 2 generations worth. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. That number again, 751-1632. To Baton Rouge we go in a minute. Our friend Ron Higgins, SEC historian, comes your way next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue, so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. And appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics.
Have you been looking for a cigar lounge that's laid back and offers style and a full bar and a great selection of cigars? Now let me tell you about the G-Spot Cigar Lounge, Memphis's premier cigar lounge, offering a wide selection of cigars, open 7 days a week starting at 12 noon for your smoking pleasure. Come kick back, enjoy a beer or a cocktail and a cigar while watching sports on one of their several TVs. G-Spot Cigar Lounge on Instagram and Facebook at the G-Spot Memphis, located at 6135 Mount Moriah Road, Suite 116.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back just for buying the gas I was going to buy anyway.
But is it a hassle to use?
No, it's super fast and easy, and I can cash out whenever I want.
That's a total no-brainer. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GALLON for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code GALLON. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GALLON for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GALLON.
Hey, Zeke, where's Gabe? There's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to say it. Over the holidays, Gabe ate himself into a Central Barbecue food coma. He what now? Between all the Central Barbecue takeout and all the Central Barbecue gift cards that he got, he ate himself into a Central Barbecue food coma. Exactly. He's completely unresponsive except when there's a game on. Isn't that pretty much always the case with Gabe? Now it's even worse. Thanks to Central Barbecue and Gabe's addiction to it, he couldn't even be roused to watch the Camellia Bowl. Well, what can we do? Is there a cure? We have no way of knowing. All we can do now is wait and pray.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Baton Rouge we go. Our SEC historian Ron Higgins joins us now. Ron, that football game, that bowl game where LSU just put it on Purdue, 63-7. Are you guys bullies or what's going on?
Well, I mean, to get to tie the largest victory margin in bowl game history of any bowl game ever, which LSU did, you have to have a lot of things go right. But LSU played 3 quarterbacks. They had a wide receiver throw 2 passes to complete both of them, once for a touchdown. The last guy who scored a touchdown for LSU was a guy on the scout team and returned a pass 99 yards. They got to a point LSU really wasn't trying to score. They just couldn't. They just scored.
So you're saying Brian Kelly wasn't running it up on the coachless Purdue Boilermakers?
No, I mean, LSU ran their offense, and then I think they scored. It was 49-0. I mean, and they were playing their backup quarterback, and he was throwing the ball. But after he got out, the whole fourth quarter, LSU played their third-string quarterback and handed the ball off and still scored a touchdown. And they got the pick at the end. So I don't think that's LSU just really trying to make any kind of statement or nothing, because LSU had their entire offense. They had 3 of their defensive lines starters opt out. 2 of their best receivers opted out. Their start running back was hurt; he didn't play. And the fact they still put 63 up tells you a lot about what LSU could be next year.
It sure does. So everybody, I guess, around Baton Rouge is pretty high on what might occur in 2023.
Yeah, they like their recruiting class. I mean, they got a lot of people back. Yeah, they're pretty optimistic. They like the way this team played this year, and got to the SEC championship game and got beat pretty good by a really good team. And but they were happy with the first year to turn it around like they did. So, but look, the SEC never rests, man. You got Hugh Freeze coming in; he's going to be really good. Petrino and Jimbo in a match.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up. I've been meaning to say this. I thought Jimbo Fisher as a coach in waiting in Florida State was a good coach, and he won a national title there with Bobby Bowden's guys. I thought, you know what? He's a smart guy. He's pretty good with the media. That's a great hire. I really did. He got all that money. Then what he just did makes me think he is not as bright as I thought. He fired a classy guy in Darryl Dickey, a classy guy who is a good offensive coordinator. He used him as the scapegoat because Darryl Dickey never called the plays, right? Jimbo Fisher was calling the plays, and Darryl Dickey was a good soldier, a classy guy. And he replaces him with a pitiful human being who has been a terrible guy at 3 different schools where people complained about him, who we know what he did at Arkansas, who got 2 chances at Louisville, was a terrible guy to administrators and other people that were around him at Western Kentucky, and he gets the job over Dickey? Jimbo Fisher's an idiot. I'm sorry.
It's the move reached of desperation, and this is such a desperate move. It really is. It just nothing ever surprised me anymore in college football. So that didn't, it's like, okay, he hired Petrino, Mr. Personality. But again, the SEC will be very interesting next year. A lot of new quarterbacks, but LSU should have 2 of them back. At least 3. All their 3 of their quarterbacks should be back. 3. And so they're feeling pretty good about. They're looking forward to next season, but we got to get this season completed first with Georgia and TCU. So I mean, it's almost at the end, and then you can start all over again.
All right, there we go. The Georgia TCU game. That's David and Goliath by the line anyway. Almost 2 touchdowns. Georgia is favored over Sonny Dykes' team that's got a heck of a quarterback in Duggan. Of course, Stetson Bennett gets no credit as the quarterback at Georgia because he's on a team that's been blessed in the past with a lot of different weapons and certainly a great offensive line. How do you break this game down?
I think Georgia, I don't know if it'll cover the spread, but I think it'll win. A double-digit win's possible. I just think Georgia played its really bad game in the semifinals. They didn't play very good at all. And I think, they may have gotten that one out the way. I'm just glad to see TCU in the game. I'm so happy to see somebody new. in this game. It just, I mean, it makes it interesting at least. I mean, to have a fresh face in there and somebody that, if you're not a college football fan, you'd like to pull for just to see, to spring an upset in this game. The only place TCU has ever won a national championship is in Dan Jenkins' books. I'm sure Dan Jenkins is looking at this right now, looking down this, going, man, this is unbelievable. I hope life imitates art. Dan Jenkins was a former Sports Illustrated writer, wrote a bunch of novels, and my favorite writer. And but yeah, he was a TCU alum, and this would have been big for him. But
yeah,
I'm glad we got somebody different in the game. I'm really glad. I'm really happy that somebody as new is in there, and hopefully this trend will. Once you go to 12 playoff teams, that in a couple of years, this trend will continue. That you'll get some new people in there, just like it was awesome watching Tulane beat USC in the Cotton Bowl.
I was just going to say that. I think that's proof that these playoffs can really be tremendous. They can be really interesting all the way through, because Tulane would have been, what, a 10, 11 seed probably in this thing, and they go and beat USC. Heck, there were so many good bowl games. The Kansas AutoZone Liberty Bowl game with Arkansas, triple overtime, was unbelievable. What a comeback by Kansas, and then really the better team prevailed.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not one of those guys. I mean, yeah, on the surface, it might look like there's too many bowls. I get that, but I'm a guy who's all for bowls. I still think they have their place in college football. And look, there's a lot of teams out there who work hard all year who don't, are not going to go to the playoff or don't have, or not 9-2 or whatever. But they get into a bowl, and those kids deserve to have a chance to take a bowl trip, get gifts, and enjoy a bowl experience. I'm all for that. I always have been, and I just wish people would go with the fact, yeah, are there too many bowls? Maybe so, but it's still a bunch of tickets. Well, this year didn't seem like it. But let me tell you, when you turn on TV and start watching these bowls and the competitive games you've got going into some of these things, I mean, Notre Dame, South Carolina was Pittsburgh, UCLA. Just got the line. Florida State, Oklahoma, 3-point game. A lot of these games are really, really good, and the Liberty Bowl may have been one of the best of all of them.
I agree.
So I think it still has a place in college football, and maybe if they want to reduce some of them, maybe so, but I still believe in them. I really do.
Next week, we'll talk championship game and SEC basketball. I believe all those teams are going to beat each other up all year long. Should be a great season. Happy New Year to you and Paige. Mr. Higgins, we'll talk next Thursday.
All right, Wolo, take care. We'll see you.
You got it. That is our SEC historian, Ron Higgins. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. I want you to think about great service without ever sacrificing anything. You get great value when you talk to Matt Eflin and his team. He gets to know you. They do insurance with collaboration. They sit down, they get to know you and your family. They know what your budget is, what's important to protect, and then they pick out the perfect life insurance, home program, auto insurance, whatever your needs are. They'll find out, and they'll protect you the right way. Same thing if you've got a small to mid-sized business. Nobody does commercial insurance better in that regard than the Eflin Insurance Team. Again, they get to know your business, what your assets are, who your people are, what's important to protect, how much money you've got to do it. They find the right thing for your budget. Voila, you're protected. All you got to do is call 901-386-GRR. That's for Tigers. That's 901-386-4777. Get insured the right way with the Eflin Insurance Team. Johnny Radio is next. We make our picks in the championship game in the NFL tomorrow. Can't wait to see you. Have a great day, everybody.